Chapter 1: The First Heist. In the bustling city of New York, the sun was just starting to rise over the horizon. The streets were still empty except for a few early morning joggers and the occasional stray cat, but in the heart of the financial district, something was brewing. A small team of criminals was gathered in a nondescript building, going over the final details of their plan. The leader of the group was a shapeshifter, a rare individual who could change their appearance at will. He had chosen a life of crime from the moment he discovered his powers, and had quickly become the most notorious thief in the city. Their target was the First National Bank, a towering skyscraper that held millions of dollars in cash and valuables. The shapeshifter had carefully studied the bank's security measures and had come up with a foolproof plan. They would enter the bank dressed as security guards, using fake IDs and uniforms that they had stolen from the real guards the night before. Once inside, they would make their way to the vault, using their skills to bypass the security measures and take the money. As they made their final preparations, the shapeshifter took on the appearance of one of the guards, a tall, muscular man with a thick beard. He grinned at his accomplices and said, "This is going to be too easy." The team made their way to the bank, blending in seamlessly with the morning rush hour crowd. They showed their fake IDs to the guards at the entrance and were allowed in without question. Inside, they moved quickly and efficiently, making their way to the vault. They encountered no resistance, as the real guards assumed they were just colleagues on a routine assignment. Finally, they reached the vault and began to work on the lock. It took only a few minutes for the shapeshifter to crack the code, and the door swung open to reveal stacks of cash and jewels. The team quickly filled their bags with as much loot as they could carry and made their way back to the entrance. As they left the building, the shapeshifter changed his appearance once more, becoming a middle-aged businessman with a briefcase. The real guards barely glanced at them as they passed, never suspecting that they were the ones who had just robbed the bank. Outside, the team split up, each member disappearing into the crowd with their share of the loot. The shapeshifter, however, remained behind, watching from a distance as the police arrived on the scene. He grinned to himself, knowing that he had pulled off the perfect heist, but this was just the beginning. There were bigger scores to be had, and he was just getting started. Chapter 2: The Second Heist. After the successful heist at the First National Bank, the shapeshifter and his team became bolder and more ambitious. They set their sights on bigger targets and more lucrative scores. The thrill of the heist had become addictive, and they were always looking for their next challenge. Their next target was the Museum of Natural History, which housed some of the most valuable and rarest artifacts in the world. The shapeshifter had studied the museum's security systems and had found a way to get past them. They decided to use the cover of a special event at the museum to make their movie. The team dressed up in formal wear and mingled with the guests, using their skills to blend in seamlessly. Once inside, the shapeshifter took on the appearance of a security guard and used his knowledge of the museum's layout to lead the team to the exhibit they were after. They quickly disabled the alarms and made their way to the artifact they had come for, the world-famous Hope Diamond. The shapeshifter carefully removed the diamond from its display case and replaced it with a convincing fake. The team made their way out of the museum unnoticed, and the shapeshifter changed his appearance once more, becoming a wealthy socialite leaving the event. They made their way to their getaway car and drove off into the night. The shapeshifter grinned as he looked down at the diamond in his hand. It was worth millions of dollars, and he knew they would have no trouble finding a buyer. But as they drove away, they heard the sound of sirens in the distance. The police had been alerted to the theft, and they were closing in fast. The shapeshifter calmly took on the appearance of a police officer, complete with uniform and badge, and instructed his team to stay in the car. He walked up to the approaching police cars, flashing his badge and confidently telling the officers that he had seen a group of thieves running in the opposite direction. The police bought his story, and the shapeshifter watched as they drove off in pursuit of his imaginary suspects. He quickly returned to the car, and they made their escape. As they drove away, the shapeshifter grinned at his team. He knew that they were becoming unstoppable. With each successful heist, their confidence grew, and they were always looking for their next challenge. They were unstoppable, and they knew it.